this.
When talking to my Trump-supporting mom a couple weeks ago, she kept saying to me, well, where do you get your news? Where do you get your news? And some of it I was like, everywhere. And I told her some sources. But some of it I was like, I just know that. She's like, you just know that? Yeah, I just know that. Like, what do you mean? I don't have to get every bit of information from somebody else. I know things. And she's like, well, where'd you hear that? What do you mean? I read books. I don't know exactly. Like, I've been studying history, and I'm in a grad program, and I have access to research articles, and I just fucking know things because I learn things. My mom, who does not read, who did not go to college, did not get any degrees, doesn't seem to understand that you can know things because you learned things. And I'm not saying that you have to go to college to be smart, but I am saying that you have to learn things to be smart. And if you don't do any research and learn things in your lifetime by reading and talking to people and forming your own opinions from many, many different sources over your lifespan, you're fucking stupid.
Hey, Mom, do you think that the Republican Party and MAGA are the same thing?
Absolutely not. I grew up Republican, voted Republican my entire life, and the leaders that I admired were incredibly respectful of women. They would never weaponize Christianity because they were not hypocristians. They lived their faith. They treated people with different ideologies with respect, not like enemies of the state. They would never raid the Capitol. I don't even recognize that. They handled hard issues, immigration and abortion, but with compassion. And I think because politics wasn't a game show, it wasn't cruelty for claps. What's happening now, that's not the party that I believe in. This is something else entirely.
So would you vote Republican again?
I don't know that the Republican Party exists anymore. This is MAGA. I will not vote MAGA.
I don't care how many views you're getting on a podcast talking to your MAGA parents. The minute my dad says, I don't care about anybody in California, including you, there is no more relationship. The relationship is over. I wouldn't let my worst enemy talk to me that way, much less my father. I wouldn't let a stranger on the street talk to me that way, much less my own parent. I'm very rarely one who is inclined to judge the legitimacy of somebody else's content, but in this circumstance, is it a really necessary conversation anymore, or is it just exploitative? And if it is exploitative, who's being exploited? It's not your parents. It's not your parents. Y'all are the ones losing. And I've never talked to these people. I've never had a conversation with them. But parasocially, I consider them friends in a way. I care about their well-being. And at this point, I don't think it's healthy. I think y'all need to pivot.
I get asked a lot about what to do with MAGA family members, and I don't know. I don't know what to do with them, which is why I just choose not to interact with mine. But there are two things that I do know for sure. The one is that you should not accept abuse from anyone. And if someone can't respect a small boundary of yours, they are not going to respect a larger one. I think right now we are sort of tightening our belts on the idea of being comfortable, and it's no longer about doing the thing that makes us most comfortable. It's about choosing which discomfort we'd rather live with. One of those things where there is not a right decision, and sometimes when I'm confronted with these scenarios, the way to put it into perspective for myself is to look for the things that I'm grateful for. When it comes to these topics, which keep me up at night, my own personal relationships with my parents and talking about them on the internet, that keeps me up at night, but I am so grateful that that's what keeps me up at night. These are the decisions I have to make, not whether or not I'm going to flee the country, not whether or not my kids are going to come home and have parents tomorrow because of the color of their skin. And when I think about it that way, cutting out the people who supported creating the environment for that to be the case becomes a lot easier. And honestly, as a white person, for me personally,
this is going to be one of those I lost my parents to MAGA videos. I had a whole plan for how I was going to do this, and now I'm just going to go off the cuff. So there was a violent ICE arrest made in my hometown, and I don't want to completely dox myself here, but it was, it went viral, and it was heartbreaking. And the actual arrest happened on the road that I used to live on, about 10 minutes from my house on a country highway. And I sent this to my mom because my parents are triple Trumpers, and throughout this administration, I've tried to send things that are very unbiased, things that seem extremely black and white. So I sent this video to her and I said, hey, did you see that this happened? And her response was, oh my gosh, that is horrific. We need to talk to immigration lawyers, named off a couple of people that we know. And in the text she said, people need to be protesting all across this country. We need peaceful protests. I said, great, Mom. Actually, there's this huge protest that's happened multiple times. It's called No Kings. And she says, oh, well, I've heard about them, and it's full of BS. I said, oh, how so? She said, well, Kamala Harris was not duly elected as the Democratic nominee last year. So, and Trump was duly elected. So, which smacks more of monarchy? And my response was, oh, well, you're not part of the Democratic Party, so why do you care? And she says, well, corruption in any form is just so dangerous. I said, well, Mom, I've got some bad news for you about the Trump administration. And she just kind of brushes me off by saying that, well, politics in general, it's about the ideas. Politics is about the ideas. There's always going to be corruption in politics. And it just kind of stunned me because, I've sent her different things through the year, and nothing will shift her. Nothing will shift her from supporting the current administration. Nothing, really. Or she will come right up to the line of changing her position, voicing support for the woman who was violently arrested and held under false pretenses, but not to the point of decrying the administration. And the thing is, I have a very small social footprint, right? Like, my political activism at this point in my life is basically reposting things on my Instagram stories. I made a spreadsheet for myself tracking the Trump administration, and I think I have like 50 to 75 entries, and I haven't even updated it since the summer. Okay. There's so much more data that I could add to this, under corruption, bribery, tearing down the entire east wing of the White House without involving Congress or the National Park System, without any permissions. The fact that the Trump family has grown $3 billion in wealth since Trump took office. Like, there is so much data, and it does not matter. I could share this spreadsheet with my parents, and they would find a way to acknowledge the problem and somehow put the blame on the Democratic Party. Tonight, I posted something about Zohran Mamdani's win, and her response was, he's a communist, he supports Hamas, and, this clip didn't say anything about supporting the Constitution. And I said, well, Mom, Trump doesn't support the Constitution either. And she got upset with me. I didn't say anything about Trump. And literally, as I make this TikTok, she's DMing me links from far-right rabbit hole news sources on Instagram. And it just breaks my heart because I was homeschooled. I was homeschooled to think critically. By her, by my parents. I was put in rhetoric classes, logic classes. I did speech and debate for 2 years. I learned how to research and cite my sources. I learned how to evaluate sources for their biases. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It is so ironic that because I was homeschooled by my conservative parents, I have now pulled away from conservatism, and especially especially from MAGA territory. And I frankly don't know how to deal with this, because who does? Like, who does know how to deal with this? I think there's a very snarky, very smug part of myself that knows that in 5 to 10 years, when Trump is dead, we are all going to know far more than we've ever wanted to know about his corruption, his scandals, the things that were actually happening behind closed doors. We're going to learn about the puppets that are currently controlling him. And, you know, so many people on this platform have said, that someday all of the people who are MAGA are going to disavow that they ever supported Trump. And that day is coming, right? That day is coming.
But, like, I love my parents so much. And, like, it just sucks. Because maybe this is always who they were. I just didn't see it. Maybe it's just gotten so much worse. But it's like I'm grieving people that are alive. And people make jokes like, just gotta cut out your MAGA family. It's not that simple. And maybe it is for some people, but I'm so codependent with my parents, and I just want so desperately there to be one scripture verse or one video or one thing that'll just, like, flip a switch. Let them see that they're not living like the Christ that they raised me to love. They're hurting real people with their beliefs. They're hurting me. It just sucks, bro. It just sucks. It sucks having MAGA parents and MAGA siblings and MAGA grandparents and MAGA in-laws. I'm drowning out here, bro. It just sucks. Like, even to call human beings aliens. Like, it takes one simple Google search. The bill is right there. All of the things are right there. They don't want information. They want whatever aligns. It just sucks.
Or seen my dad in like 6 years because of Trump mostly. But it started way earlier than that. In 2009, I went to college, and one of the first things that he said to me was just don't become a liberal, because I was raised, you know, in an evangelical home, extremely conservative, big on GUNs, like all of that. And of course I went to school, and that was like exactly what I did. And, you know, then the 2012 election came around, and I voted for Obama, and that was when we really like started to butt heads. And then the 2016 election happened, and one of my sisters and I got on a conference call with him and literally begged him for hours to change his mind and not vote for Trump. And, you know, we begged him for like, I don't know, like 8 years probably, like starting before the 2020 or the 2012 election, and then continuing through the 2016 election and like 3 years beyond that, just begging him to learn and grow. And he just refused. And my mom followed suit. One of our other sisters followed suit. And now none of our family really speaks. And sometimes I'm curious, like, if he did change. So I go look at his Facebook, and it's just, I mean, like those typical boomer memes that are like super anti-liberal and like anti-progressive. And I'm marrying a woman, I don't even know if they know that.
My mother is a MAGA boomer. About 2 years ago, I was arguing with her about January 6th and how terrible it was. I brought up how those people built gallows on the sidewalk to unalive Mike Pence. She looks me in my face and says, "Where'd you see that?" And I was like, "On every legacy news media outlet, Mom. Like, it happened." She 100% honestly told me she had never seen that. So I pulled out my phone and I just Googled it. And of course, a gajillion photos of the gallows show up. She had honestly never seen it. Then I remembered my parents haven't had cable for years. They grew up in fundamentalist Christianity from the time they were teenagers, and they raised me in the same. Got rid of cable a long time ago. Don't have satellite TV. Our only source of media is online. We all know these older MAGA folks are only consuming media from right-wing authoritarian content creators, not from legacy outlets that actually still have a big enough reach where they must maintain some level of journalistic integrity. She was 100% telling me the truth, that she had no idea that they built gallows to get rid of Mike Pence on January 6th because he certified the election results of 2020. Now, this is a prime example of how MAGA is a cult. I know that word is very triggering, but when I say it, I'm saying it with a clinical definition. Specifically, the BITE model that was created by Dr. Stephen Hassan, who's one of the world's foremost cult experts and a former cult member himself. He was in the Moonies in the early 70s. BITE model is the control of behavior, information, thoughts, and emotions. Any combination of those four things being controlled by a group, you're dealing with a cult group or a high control group. My mother did not know that they built gallows for Mike Pence. She was completely unaware because the information that she takes in is controlled. The way that they do this is by demonizing any sort of news outlet media that disagrees or has a different perspective. You used to have to physically isolate people to get this level of information control. Now you don't. Now you just demonize all the people that disagree with you. And especially for Christians like my mom, you tell them that it's an attack from the enemy. Somebody would say something bad about Donald Trump, and you automatically build in thought-stopping technique into the brains of your loyal followers. Thank you for your...
Parents who normalize fascism in the household and then are shocked when their children grow up and decide to go no contact are clearly geniuses. What do you mean you had pre-approved outfits for your child to pick between? You gave them two options, said, no, you cannot go into your closet and choose your own outfit to go on your own body. At no point did you allow your child to freely express or be themselves in any way, shape, or form, and you're confused why they don't want a relationship with you? Are you being serious? This is the problem with Trump supporters. They don't even recognize that they themselves are fascists running a fascist household, so of course they cannot identify that they worship a fascist.
Okay, so my mom voted for Trump. And for the second time. And I just don't understand why my mom, having a daughter, me, who is somebody who has struggled through life with, a single mom, definitely dependent on food stamps, Medicaid. I'm autistic. I have mental health struggles. It's just so hard for me to understand how my mom can have me for a daughter and then literally go to the polls and vote against everything that would help me. You know what I mean? And her biggest excuse and reasoning is for the economy, all that. He's going to make everything better. He's going to save us money. But what I don't understand is why do they support this pathway to saving the country money? Why do they support cutting all this funding for all these vulnerable and populations, minority populations, taking things from people who need them? That is their approach, rather than literally just enforcing the IRS, or the IRS enforcing the freaking tax laws and making these billionaires pay their share. Literally, if they would pay their share, that's it. We'd be good. That's all we need. It's such an easy solution, and I just don't understand.
Have you guys seen that viral Facebook post? It's a mom, and she's crying, and she's like, I don't understand how my kids can block me and rob me.
2024 election changed a lot of relationship. For many people, it was never just about politics. It became about values, morality, and whether the people closest to them cared about their rights and their future. And that's why many children are carrying off their parents. So let's get to see more. Please like and hype the video and let me know thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's get into it.
Attention to this matter.
Whenever I feel guilty about not talking to my parents anymore, I ask myself this. Why would I expose myself to people who I have to go to therapy, I have to seek self-care and healing in order to be around every time I'm around them, who have never gone to therapy for me, who refuse to go to therapy or do any type of self-help, self-reflection, development for me? I wouldn't walk across hot coals for someone So why am I doing that every time I see my parents, emotionally speaking? When they not only will not walk across hot coals for you, they won't even think of the idea to sweep away the coals so you have a clear path to walk through so you don't get hurt. It doesn't even occur to them. Doesn't even occur to them that it hurts you to have to see them. And there are layers of it, because that it doesn't occur to them that it could be hurtful, that their lingering traumas and bullshit that they refuse to work through hurts you, is a hurt in of itself, because it's like you're aware of the neglect and they are not. It's really helped me look at my time, my space, my health as a value. It has a value, a monetary value if you're talking about the cost of therapy, and it helps to take them off the pedestal, because naturally as kids our parents are on a pedestal, and by thinking of it this way you're taking them and putting them on the plane of everyone else. And when you look at them as just everyone else, they're really old, miserable people who will never change, not even to save the relationship with their children.
I was over at my parents' house the other day. I was helping my mom set up her Googles and smart TVs and things because she got new Wi-Fi and she didn't know how to update it. And I don't mind helping. She's my mom. She'll be 69 this year. And she's still significantly younger than the people that are in Congress making decisions about AI data centers, and she doesn't know how to update her Google. So that's a terrifying thought. But anyways, I had to go to her pictures to see her.
Why are MAGA are being abandoned by their own children? So let me quickly bring my own opinion about this, unbiased. I don't want to be biased. Not long ago, many American families could sit around the same dinner table and disagree about politics without it running their relationship. But today, something is getting wrong. Today, that seems much harder, because across the country, some parents who proudly support the MAGA movement say their children no longer visit as often. They don't call as much, or even cut off contacts completely. Some even block their parents not to even call them. So many of them are left asking one painful question: what happened to our family? But here is the question for you. Should political belief ever be more important than family? So let me hear the thoughts in the comment section below. Because some parents believe that they are simply standing up for what they think is best for America. So they support stronger borders, lower taxes, and conservative values. From their own point of view, their political belief shouldn't stop them from having a close relationship with their children. But some of the children see things very, very different. They see it differently. They say the problem is not just about policies. They believe some certain comment, attitude, or disagreement over social issues has created emotional distance over time for them. So the relationship changed because they no longer felt understood or respected. The result is something the result is something neither side expected. Parents feel rejected, while children often feel they had no other choice but to create distance. So both sides believe they have been hurt. So what do you think should make the first move? Is it the parents, the children, or should both sides meet in the middle? So what do you think? What do you think? I want you to drop that opinion in the comment section below as well. And the thing is that many people believe social media has made the problem even much worse. And this is the reason why. Every day, people are surrounded by political opinions that reinforce their own belief. So instead of bringing families together, politics have become something that pushes them further apart. Even small disagreements can quickly turn into heated arguments. Some supporters of Trump argue that conservatives are unfairly judged simply because of their political views. They say many families have become less accepting of different opinions, making it difficult to have honest conversation without conflict. Some argue that respect must go both ways. They believe family members should be willing to listen to one another, even when they strongly disagree. That should not cause any conflict among themselves. So let's think about this in a moment. If someone in your family voted differently for you, would that change the way you treat them? Or would family always come first? We have to notice that. Some experts says political disagreement doesn't automatically destroy families. What actually causes the damage is the way people speak to one another. Let me say constant argument. Yes. Another is like personal attacks. Or let me say refusing to listen to one another can break relationship as soon as possible. And the reality is that this is not happening only in MAGA families, to be sincere. MAGA families on both the left and the right have experienced painful division in recent years, though. But politics have become deeply personal. And that has made it harder for people to separate political disagreements from personal relationship. And let me ask one final question. If you had the chance to choose between winning a political argument and keeping your family together, which one would you choose? Is it winning a political argument or keeping your family together? So I think you have to choose one. I want to hear your opinion about that in the comment section. But in the end, this argument is not about Republicans or Democrats. It is about what is happening when politics enter the living room and start changing the people we love. There will be a lot of heated arguments. Opinions will always be different. But families only get one chance to stay connected. The real question is whether Americans can learn to disagree without letting politics tear their family apart. I would love to hear where you stand. Maybe you support the politics, or you support the families, or what do you think the American can do whereby the politics is not going to be affecting the families? So share your thoughts in the comment section below. I would love to read it. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.